Greek city-states were fractured, politically and ideologically divided. Though they shared a common heritage, their differences were vast. Some sought peace through negotiation, others urged outright resistance. But as the Persian King Xerxes led his massive invasion force into Greece, unity seemed like an impossible dream. While the Greeks debated and delayed, one man chose action: Leonidas, King of Sparta. Leonidas, a warrior king of unyielding resolve, saw no merit in waiting. He summoned 1,260 of Sparta's finest warriors, each trained from childhood to live and die by the sword. These were not mere soldiers, they were the pinnacle of discipline and brotherhood. Together, they would march to meet the Persian threat head-on. Their goal was not to win, but to delay the enemy and send a message. Greece would not bow. The Spartans marched as one, their crimson cloaks billowing in the wind, their bronze shields glinting under the pale sun. Every step resonated with purpose. The rhythmic clatter of their armor was a song of defiance, echoing across the valleys and hills of Greece. They moved like a single organism, each man trusting the others with his life. The first charge overcame everything. As hours turned into days, the skies darkened and a storm rolled in. Rain poured down in torrents, drenching the warriors, but their resolve remained unshaken. The roads became muddy, the winds howled, yet the Spartans marched on, undeterred. In the distance, the Persian fleet loomed, a seemingly endless wave of ships, unloading thousands of soldiers onto Greek soil. The Persians, led by the enigmatic King Xerxes, had brought an army of staggering proportions. Among them were the Immortals, an elite force of 100,000 warriors, said to be invincible. Legends whispered that their ranks could never dwindle, as fallen soldiers were immediately replaced to maintain their terrifying numbers. To the Greeks, they seemed otherworldly, a force that could not be defeated. When Xerxes learned of the small Spartan force moving to intercept him, he was unimpressed. Amused by their audacity, he dispatched a fraction of his army, 2,000 immortal archers and infantry, to crush them. The ground quaked under the marching of Persian boots as they advanced toward the Spartan position, leaving the workers unprovided for. Preceded by armed guards, they advanced on the corpses. Leonidas observed the Persian archers breaking away from the main force. He saw an opportunity. With a signal, the Spartans quickened their pace, closing the distance before the archers could organize. A hail of arrows rained down, but the Spartans raised their shields, creating an unyielding wall of bronze. Not a single man faltered. As they reached the archers, the Spartans unleashed their fury. With disciplined precision, they routed the Persian bowmen, driving them back into chaos. The myth of the Immortals began to crack. These warriors could bleed, and they could die. Inspired by this victory, the Spartans returned to formation, regrouping at a narrow pass flanked by treacherous cliffs and the sea. Xerxes, enraged by the Spartans' defiance, ordered the full might of the Immortals to crush them. 10,000 elite warriors marched forward in perfect unison, their black robes and silver masks creating an eerie spectacle. But the Spartans stood ready, their spears and shields forming an impenetrable wall. The battle erupted with earth-shaking violence. The Immortals charged, their weapons clashing against Spartan shields. Yet the Spartan phalanx held firm, their discipline and training proving superior. Spears found their mark, piercing through Persian armor with devastating effect. Blood soaked the battlefield as the Immortals faltered, unable to break the Spartan line. Leonidas, at the front of his men, led a relentless counterattack. The Spartans pushed forward, driving the Immortals back, step by step. Exhaustion began to plague the Persian ranks as the tightly packed soldiers found themselves trapped, crushed against one another. Spartan spears found gaps in their defenses, cutting them down in waves. The bodies of the fallen piled high, most of them Persian. Though the Spartans suffered losses, their spirits remained unbroken. They had proven that even the Immortals could be defeated. From afar, Xerxes watched in disbelief as his elite warriors were humiliated on the battlefield. As the day wore on, the ground behind the Spartan line became a river of blood, but their shield wall remained unbroken, their determination unwavering. For a moment, it seemed as though the tide of Persian invincibility had been stemmed. The Spartans were not merely fighting for survival, they were making a statement to both friend and foe. Harmonious officers held the physical, mental, and spiritual foothold of the column. He opened his eyes and saw the enemy emerging, battle droids and helmets providing a fleeing force. Yet, Leonidas noticed something strange. Amid the chaos, a familiar sight emerged. The very same Immortals they had just defeated stood before them once more. The legend was true. Reinforcements had seamlessly replaced the fallen, restoring the Immortal ranks to their full strength. The Persians had found a way to outflank the Spartans. Archers, having navigated the treacherous terrain, appeared behind the Greek position. The Spartans were surrounded. For Leonidas and his men, escape was no longer an option. They fought on, refusing to surrender. Each Spartan made every strike count, their blades carving through Persian flesh. But the end was inevitable. One by one, the Spartans fell, until only a handful remained. These survivors would live to tell the tale of this day, a tale of courage and sacrifice. Though the Spartans were defeated, their stand at Thermopylae became a rallying cry for all of Greece. The message was clear: the Greeks would not yield to Persian domination. Leonidas and his warriors had shown that even the mightiest of empires could be challenged. Ten years later, united at last, the Greek city-states pushed back the Persian invaders, reclaiming their land and their freedom. But it all began here, with 1,260 Spartans who stood against impossible odds and dared to fight for a dream of liberty.